We're back.
We are, yeah. Wow.
Because there's a movie that's been 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
That...
With 18 movies before it?
That's crazy. And you watched all 18...
And wrote
in
blog
18
posts
days?
Okay. I didn't... I watched all of them. That part's true. But as soon as I figured out I was going to do it, which was like about a week before I started, so I immediately started watching them, and I had written like 5 or 7 before the first one even came out. But no, I did watch all the Marvel movies, because we're here to talk about Avengers Infinity War.
Yep.
We're going to kind of go into spoilers a bit, just because...
just right off the bat.
So if you don't want that, maybe don't watch this, at all. Jake.
Yes.
What did you think of the film?
I thought it was amazing, and I thought it was amazing for a couple reasons. One, just as a fan of comic books and all these characters, and you know how long we've been waiting to see this happen. I was telling Sam, like, I can't think of a time that I went to a Marvel movie and I was more just fucking happy. When the movie started,
is this the happiest you've been in your life?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, because like the movie was starting and I was like, I'm so fucking happy. As characters I love are being killed on screen.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of that. I was
pretty
just, like,
immediately too.
Yeah. I was just like, I'm so happy to finally see this.
Mm-hmm. This culmination of everything.
And it's also amazing that it wasn't a fucking like slog because there's so many characters and so many storylines and so many things and expectations that people had, and they did it.
There's 9 Avengers, 7 Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, Winter Soldier, Black Panther, Spider-Man. There's a lot going on. Thanos, the new...
Yeah, I mean, like, 6 years since they first you've seen him in the post-credit scene for the first Avengers movie, and finally we get his reveal and talk. I mean, like, I feel like...
Can you watch Thor Ragnarok, the funniest Marvel movie, with such a hopeful ending, and then now knowing what happens at the start of Infinity War, does that shade your perception of Ragnarok forever now?
I don't know, because I haven't watched it all the way through yet since, but like...
Because they're so happy at the end of that movie.
This is pretty much like a Thor Ragnarok sequel.
Thor's the Avenger that gets the most to do.
think Thor Ragnarok... would you say that's the most important movie to see or be familiar with before?
Ragnarok first.
Yeah.
Civil War is probably the second most important, and then Black Panther, because...
Surprisingly, Doctor Strange, too. Like, you don't have to... Like, I don't mean, like...
Yeah.
You have to know everything that goes on in the movie. But I feel like...
If you want that proper introduction to Doctor Strange.
Being refreshed with the character, because he plays a huge part of the movie.
He does.
And... is actually my favorite hero in the movie.
More than Thor.
Yeah, I mean, like, Thor, I fucking love Thor. I mean, I love all the characters. I mean, I love all the superheroes. But, like, I remember just walking out of the theater and being like, I love that Doctor Strange is such a fucking master of his shit. Like, he is so, like, everyone else is like, holy fuck! And he's like, no, look, I'm gonna kill you. Like, I'll let you fucking die before I give this shit up. Like,
Thor's pretty copacetic, too. But then again, Thor fights him first.
Yeah. But, like, Doctor Strange, like, basically, like, fucking Bruce Banner literally falls into his Sanctum Sanctorum and is like, the end of the world's coming. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, let me get Iron Man.
Let's go.
Fine.
And then, he's just throwing fucking, wah, yeah, like, after, like, fucking, what am I trying to think of? Magic and...
that's what he does.
Spells after spell. Because, like, in the first, in his one and only movies, he's in Thor Ragnarok, but in his film, he's still learning at the end, even, He's getting everything else. In this one,
are you pissed he doesn't wear the gloves?
I kind of am, because I really like the gloves. I really like the gloves, but...
big kitchen mitts.
I like the sad moment, too, is, like, when he gives up the time stone, or time gem to...
Right, which makes me think that he's not... Because he's like, I think he's playing a longer game. Because
another badass moment too is like, he's the only superhero in the end not to be like, he's like, the death is coming. They're all disappearing.
Well, the entire movie's about death.
Yeah, and he's like, basically like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like this is what has to happen.
Yeah.
And I just love. He's just throwing freaking spell after spell after spell after spell. His fucking cloak. I love, like, still one of my favorite moments in any Marvel movie is when the cloak chooses him in Doctor Strange. When it fucking catches the knife. I love that shit. And
then dives after him and he floats up.
Yeah.
for me, like Thor kind of has that too. Like there's that one scene where he's like, I'm going to, no one has ever, Thanos has never faced me before, and Rocket's like, well, he has. And he's like, well, okay, nobody's faced me twice.
Yeah.
And, he's puts on this big show, all this bravado, and Rocket's just like, well, what if you're wrong? And he's like, if I'm wrong, what else do I have to lose?
Yeah.
It's such like a heartbreaking, because if you think about it, nobody in any of the Marvel movies has lost more than Thor.
Yeah.
Because, this dude's been alive for like 1,500 years. And in the span of like 7 years, he's lost both of his parents on separate adventures. His brother just got killed before his eyes. His kingdom just blew up.
Mm-hmm.
And like half of his people were like slaughtered by Thanos.
Yeah.
He has had a rough go of it for like 7 years.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like that's the most Shakespearean we've seen Thor. Like,
After being directed by Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, which is but that monologue's very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's just pouring his heart and soul out. And also like Hemsworth is just, I think with Thor Ragnarok especially, he has found that character.
Yeah.
Like Evans has found, Cap, and like Robert Downey Jr. 's found
Cap doesn't
Iron
get
Man.
a lot to do.
No, and I think some people might have been a little, bummed about that.
He has the coolest entrance.
Oh, dude. Yeah, the only time I got like super teary was like when he shows up, and we all saw it coming from a mile away.
It's in the trailer.
It's in the trailer. Like, you know it's gonna be him.
Yeah.
But we didn't know the circumstances of how important
It's still so badass.
how important his arrival is gonna be.
Yeah.
Because Vision and Wanda are getting fucked up.
Yeah.
Bad.
They look up and they see him on the other side of the moving train.
He's always there. Like he's
there
like,
when he needs to be.
You're always gonna feel safe when Cap's around, even when the world's falling apart. And he has that line earlier on, which is basically his mission statement, where he's like, which is a famous thing from the Infinity Gauntlet story, where he's like, as long as there's one still left, he doesn't win. And yeah, obviously this movie is super, it's big time setup for part 2.
It's basically, this is like Deathly Hallows Part 1 and then Deathly Hallows Part 2. They're parts of a whole, even though they're separate films. I think it pulls it off better than, say, was it Mockingjay that was divided into 2?
Oh yeah.
Or was it Catching Fire? Catching Fire was 2. Mockingjay was 3rd.
Yeah,
right?
the
Hunger
Hunger
Games.
Games. The first parts. Again, I didn't read the books, but I enjoyed the movies.
Up until that point.
And it felt like totally unnecessary to be broken into 2 parts. But again, that's just from a movie fan.
Yeah. And then you get The Hobbit that was like broken into 3.
Yeah.
Which is even worse.
So yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in part 2. And thank God it's only a year away. We don't have to wait like a couple years in between Avengers
Almost
movies.
a year to the day.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like May 3rd of next year.
I loved overall. I thought Thanos stole the show because he
This big purple raisin man.
purple, and I love Josh Brolin.
Roid Rage Grimace.
Yeah,
With a scrotum chin.
but I mean, dude, Josh Brolin's about to live his best life ever because he's got this movie which has the biggest opening of all time. He's about to drop as Cable in freaking Deadpool 2. I mean, good for that guy.
Yeah, well done, Josh.
Well done. But
so it's Thanos, then Doctor Strange, and then like Thor for you.
yeah, and like I mean, Thor is clearly like he is the central guy in the movie. Like when you kind of step back and look at it.
What was the biggest surprise for you?
I mean, I definitely wasn't expecting Red Skull to show up again.
Yeah.
I even like audibly said, "Oh shit," but I don't know.
It's fine. Again, in terms of what I think of like Infinity War, it's parts of a whole. This is part 1. Next year we get part 2. It's going to be, I always look at the wrong thing for the camera. It's going to be the, you're going to get some, it's going to be cool next year.
It's yeah, like I said, it's amazing how it's amazing just how it all came together and it works so well, so
yeah. Well, let's see if this works.
No, that's not a good idea, Sam. No.